Hey everybody, Stigby here once again, coming to you in the Factorio world 017, looking to actually get a little bit of automation started today. We're going to focus a little bit on our electric production as well as building in any sort of automation that we can. You'll notice we have this research queue up here. The very first thing we need to research is automation. I'm going to go ahead and queue that up. Automation takes science packs. Science packs are created by using assembly machines or in your inventory. They need 3 electronic circuits, some iron gears, some iron plates. You can also do some other things with that, but I'm sorry, that's how you actually, this is what comes with this. We'll get into this just in a few minutes, but once we get this running, then we're going to go ahead and work on. So while we were away, I spent just a little bit of time doing a little bit of grinding off work or offline. You'll notice I have some power poles out here. These power poles are waiting for me to take power up to my ore patches so I can start the process of automating ore. But the first thing we need to do here is actually go into our crafting menu and pull up a few items here. First off, we need an offshore pump. Anytime that you're making electricity, you need some steam. In this case, we're going to pull that steam out here. We need to go ahead and get a boiler. The boiler actually takes a fuel and converts that fuel into heat. Heat with water makes steam, and then we have to have a couple of steam engines here to run through doing that. Now I'm going to go ahead and put these on my hotbar here because I'll be making those here several times throughout the playthrough. I'm going to go ahead and move my my dashboard around a little bit, put my electric production going in over here. And then one last thing we need to do is we really need to start thinking about how we're going to fuel this. At first we're going to fuel out of boxes just to get things started. I've already got a few boxes on in my inventory. Eventually we're going to use conveyor belts to take the ore, the coal, and bring it down here automatically. We need to go ahead and have some electric miners, which are here. But let's go ahead and start the process of laying this down. Now, one more thing I need to have is probably a few of these undergrounds, a few straight pipes, so that we can connect up all of our pieces here. By the way, to move things around, I click on this, I pull up a version of this. I can either place it on the ground or place it into a different slot on my my hotbar. If I want to get rid of it, I use my wheel mouse, that middle mouse button. Go ahead and click on it, it goes in and pulls it off. And as you can see, our inventory now has these items, and my quick bar has access to these items that we may need to have as we move into the future. So I'm going to go ahead and take that offshore pump. Now each one of these offshore pumps can actually power, I think it's 20 of these boilers. As we continue on with that process, we'll go a little bit deeper. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and use this underground so I can walk between there and pull that underground out here as far as I can. And if you'll notice, I pulled it out just far enough to where if I'm running north and south here, I'm not going to run into the water. By the way, if you're playing with biters, those are fish. Fish is things you can eat if you get damaged. We're not planning on doing that, so we're going to go ahead and work through this. So here, I really want to do this a little bit differently. I want to go ahead and run my boilers kind of from the north to the south, so we're going to run them this way. Yeah, I think if we go ahead and put that up, players in the way. I do that quite a bit because I haven't quite got this down yet. We'll go ahead and place that first one down here. We'll go ahead and take our boilers and put them one away here. And then use a straight pipe to connect them up. Now you can take these miners here and move them one step further away. So go ahead and put them here and here. And instead of using a straight pipe to connect them up, go ahead and use undergrounds to be able to squeak through here if you want. There's some benefits to this. However, if you're on the other side of these, it's not, you're not so far away you can't reach it. So I'm going to go ahead and save the resources because each of those undergrounds takes 15 pipes, I think it was. So we're just going to go ahead and do these with like this. And while I'm at it and I'm down here, I'm going to go ahead and do one more boiler and 2 more steam engines. And we're going to go ahead and put these side by side. I'm going to show you why I'm doing that here in just a moment. Also, I need to connect up the water. So the offshore pump does not need power to work, but the everything else does. So at this point, I really need to start thinking about how I'm going to get some power into here. You'll notice that these guys are blinking, and that's because there's no power pole next to it. With power generation devices, if there's no power pole, they'll blink, and if there is, it won't. Now, if we're using a something that requires power, and I did go ahead and build out a lab, we placed a lab down here, you'll notice that the lab is blinking because there's no power available to it. But if we put the power line to it, it goes from yellow to red, and red means there's power available, but really we can't do anything because there's no power going through the network at this point in time. I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of OCD work here, put those small power poles where they need to go. By the way, as you'll notice, there's a little blue area around these. That's the area of effect of each one of these power poles, and so you can see where, if there's an item that needs to be get power, then you'll see where that's coming from. The other thing that I need to make is a inserter, and there's 2 different types that I have access to right now. A yellow inserter, which uses electricity, and a burner inserter. And what a burner inserter does is it will actually use coal to power itself. I'm not going to put those on the hot bar because I don't use them that often. But I'm going to go ahead and set these up to where they can be used. You'll notice I went ahead and built out another set here. We'll go ahead and place those down, and then you'll notice that these small power poles stretch just far enough to where we can go out there and place another power pole out here. If I go one step further, it's just not connecting up. So anyway, that's why I'm building this way. I'm going to go ahead and put a couple of boxes here. And then really I'm just going to fill that box up with 50 coal. And what you're going to see here is that the burner miner started filling itself. Once it did that, then it's now moving to fill everything else up, and it's going to fill up the inventory of the boiler. You'll notice the boiler goes through some pretty good coal. So those 50 coals are not going to last very long for me here. So I'm going to have to do something about that. Now, while I was offline and doing a little bit of work here, I also built these conveyor belts. And I'm going to go ahead and use our conveyor belts to follow my power lines back up north to get to where my factory is. And you'll notice I'm going to move a little bit away from my power line because as I went up, I noticed my power line was hitting on the ore quite a bit. Yeah, I'm probably going to need to work around this a little bit as we start to mine out those resources. But what I need to do is I really need to get my my line up to this point. And I don't like that. I'm going to go ahead and drop this one further down. Go ahead and put my power pole back up. And let's see where my everything else is. And there we go. So at this point, I'm almost ready to bring some coal and start putting it onto the belt here. Now the first thing I need to do here is craft a little bit extra stuff. We've been working with the burner miners in the past. These burner miners take coal to run. We also have electric mining miners. I'm going to go ahead and craft up a few of those. Right now we're going to keep them fairly small for right now, just to get the process going. I'll go ahead and continue to get some stone here. Notice I'm going to go ahead and just fill up the entire box. I've got a lot of stone, but I'm going to need a lot of furnaces as we run through this playthrough. Notice my queue down here where you can see that to make 5 miners I needed to have 15 green circuits. The 15 green circuits required some iron plate, some copper cable, and then also these things called iron gears. And so these iron gears take some time, but now I have these burner miners, and I want to go ahead and replace the old miners with these new ones that we have here. Let me get rid of that, put those down, and we're actually going to start using these to get our coal. So I'm going to look over here again. Just notice that the area of effect, if I move this down, looking over on the left-hand side, you can see I'm going to start getting some iron ore. That's a bad thing because the iron will actually clog your belt. So I'm going to go ahead and just start up here where I am. I can see I've got a little bit of coal, but there's nothing else. I'm going to put 5 on each side just because I made 10. And again, just looking up through here, looks like we're good to go. I'm going to go ahead and, now that I'm getting ready to get some coal going, I can pull up these furnaces here, get all that coal in my inventory. We're going to use it here in just a few minutes. But let's go ahead and put this down. There we go. And I want to go ahead and put these down as close as I can. We're going to need to move those a little bit because these little power lines won't quite reach completely across. But we got that down. So right now, if you'll notice, if we look on the ground here, they're actually outputting the coal onto the ground. That's okay for right now. Because as soon as I put the conveyor belt down, it will come in and start collecting it, and now it's moving itself down to the electric miners down to the very bottom here. And before I go down, let's go ahead and collect some things. Something I want to point out here. This particular miner here has mined out the resources that it was on, so I can go ahead and pick it up. We're still picking up different items here. Should have a lot of coal, but I've got the coal, so let's go ahead and just drop these down. As a matter of fact, I think I've got enough that I can put in a full stack everywhere, and should be good to go. Now if I need coal, you'll notice I have no coal in there. If I hold down F, I can actually pick up the coal off of the belt and run through from that perspective. Also, you'll notice when I'm running off on the grass and the sand, I'm running pretty slow, but if I get on the belt, it runs a little bit faster. We'll go ahead and just take these belts here and run it all the way down to where we are here. Now, at this point, if I click on the pole, you can see I have my electric information. I've got 900 kilowatts available. I'm sorry, I've got 900 kilowatts that I'm using, and it's only about a quarter of the way through. So eventually I'm going to need to come in here and, again, 2 boilers, 4 steam engines, and 2 of my burner inserters. We're going to go ahead and work through that. At this point, what I'm going to do is I need to make a few more iron pipes as well as we go through here. And what I'm going to do here is we're just going to set these up. I'm going to set them up not right next to each other, but one space apart, and then connect them together. Then I'm going to take these, again, set those one space out. That beep beep, because I'm just one little item too far. And then take my my power pole, connect it up down here. Take those two burner inserters, go ahead and run that. Now you'll notice that as I hover these over, they have an arrow on them. The arrow is pointing which direction they're going to move the information in. Now the reason I have that is because I have it turned on in options, but I also pressed Alt. If I turn the Alt off and on, you'll notice I can hover over it. I can see I need to have some water in here. I need water. I don't have it, so I need to go ahead and put the connections in. And if I go ahead and move this on down, oops, you can do that. By the way, when I'm holding my any item in my hand, pressing R rotates it. So this is actually making it go north. Holding down the right click allows me to pick it back up. Holding down left click allows me to click it on down as we go through the process. So again, if I look at my production, I'm still only using 900 kilowatts, but my my satisfaction has gone way up. So I really don't need these two going right now. I'm going to go ahead and leave them because I'm going to be adding more miners fairly quickly, and I don't want it to make another trip down here. So sometimes you want to save your resources. Other times you want to go ahead and work out towards the future. Either way works as you're playing through the game. It's your game to play the way that you want, and you can go ahead and run through this. By the way, you can make a messy base. A lot of people call this spaghetti. So if I go out there and just hold this down, I can put this 1, 2, 3, probably 1, 2, 3. You know, any of those three spaces, you'll notice it turns white on my boiler. But we'll go ahead and put it in the middle just to keep a nice little symmetry going on. And now, because the conveyor belt is running against me, I'm running really slow. So I don't want to use the conveyor belt to go up this way. We're going to go ahead and run it through like this. The conveyor belt's filling up nicely. That's what I expected to see by putting 10 coal miners up here. But I'm actually going to use these coal miners to power some other stuff. So let's talk a little bit about research. I'm going to spend the last little bit of the episode here working on some research. I didn't start my timer, but we'll go ahead and do our research. Start working on that. You'll notice that I actually built out a research facility. I want to go ahead and handcraft 10 of these automation packs, and these automation packs only require copper plate and iron gear. Two iron gears may require. I'm sorry, 2 iron plates per iron gear. It takes half a second to make, and it's going out there and it's actually crafting those items. They do take a little bit of time out of your inventory, but if I go ahead and click into there, it actually just puts those science packs in. And you'll notice that my automation is off and running. I'm going to go ahead and make another 20 packs as we go through here, because I do want to, after this research finishes up, I do want to go in here and work on a couple of other items, that being logistics. This is where the queue comes in. I can actually queue up logistics. It's going to take 20 science packs. That's why I picked out another 20. This one took 10. This one took 20, so I need a total of 30 to do what I need to do here. I can actually build out more of these research facilities. I'll probably do that too. Let's go ahead and build one of those. Cancel that and that and that. And we'll continue with this. And then once we get that up, then I'll go ahead and re-queue 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 25 of these red packs. If I don't need all 25 of them, I can pull some of them away. I'm going to use them, but we'll work through that. Go ahead and grab another one and Now what I want to do is I'll take a couple here, plop those in there. Now I'm actually researching twice as fast as where I was a second ago. This is not going to be a great place to pull these things, because in a minute I'm going to actually start some automation processes to where I can automate my science. And they're kind of in the way right here, but I wanted to go ahead and at least get the process started. And if you noticed, beep, 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 that really told me that my research was completed, and now I'm ready to go ahead and continue to do my research. And we're just walking through research here as we go through. So I think that's probably going to be another good episode. We got some power started. We got our research started. I'm going to do a little bit of off camera grinding, get a little more research out of the way, start my plan for building out my smelting arrays. Smelting arrays are going to require me to start mining out the coal, the copper, the iron, getting those filled out really very tightly, and then continuing on through the Let's Play. So at this point, we're going to go ahead and sign off. Thanks everybody for watching episode 2. Leave me a like. Tell me that you like what you're seeing. Give me any constructive criticism in the comments, please. I'm going to go ahead, since I'm a small channel, I'll be responding back to every one of the comments that I can, at least with a thank you, or if you see something I'm doing wrong, doing silly, let me know. I know I could be doing a lot more crafting in my inventory offline, like once this completes up. I know I'm going to need to have a lot more of these iron gear wheels, so I can go ahead and craft a bunch of iron gear wheels while I'm not doing anything else. You can also craft up some copper cables, some of these basic items that I might need to have. Craft up some of these circuits here. Again, what does it do? It's just going to allow me to build things faster later on down the road. But I'm going to get out of handcrafting here in a few minutes. Maybe next episode we're going to set up some automation, get some automated machines working for us, so we're not having to work quite as heavily on our side. And we should be done with logistics by the time I get back. So thanks everybody for your kind support, and this is Stinky signing off. Have a good day.